Okay, so real quick, I want to make this both for just to post on personal shit, but also for YouTube because I just got to thinking about the Flash comes back soon, like this upcoming month, and I was reflecting back on the previous seasons, right? And I realized like Barry Allen has had the most horrible consecutive 7 years of just god awful luck. Like this poor motherfucker. First season, he almost loses his job a fuck ton. He gets powers. He's constantly reminded of his mother's death. He gets tricked by the person who's supposed to be his mentor, who turned out to be the guy who murdered his mother. A bunch of bad shit happens. And he has multiple people die in his arms, and multiple people he's friends with die. Fucking drag. Top of second season, Barry's fucking depressed and isolated, rightfully fucking so, before Team Flash bullies him into letting them help him again. Then he meets another guy who's supposed to mentor him, who he fucking calls is probably the bad guy, and nobody fucking listens to him, which I don't know why, because he's the goddamn Flash. So that happens. You know, later on, a bunch of people in an alternate universe die because Barry exists. Then in our world, a bunch of people try to kill Barry that are from that alternate world, which is, unfair. Barry's dad gets out of prison only to be murdered shortly thereafter. Barry almost becomes bad. The guy who Barry called being the bad guy is a mass murderer from another universe who came to destroy the multiverse. Barry stops the multiverse from dying by killing an alternate version of himself. And then Barry's like, oh shit, my dad and my mom dead. I'm depressed. I'm gonna go back in time. So he goes back in time, he saves his mom, and that's the end of season 2. Season 3 picks up with Barry living in this alternate timeline, which the Reverse Flash dubs Flashpoint. This timeline is the timeline in which the Flash comes and stops the Reverse Flash from killing Barry's mom. In this timeline, Barry is not the Flash. He has his powers still because he's not technically that timeline's Barry. He's just a Barry in place. Whatever. Barry has his powers, but he's not the Flash. There's another Flash in here. Now we're gonna guess who it is. It's Wally fucking West. It's Iris West's brother, who showed up last season. Haven't been talking about other characters because I'm more focused on Barry. But, Barry isn't the Flash. There's another guy who's the Flash. This other guy gets stabbed through the fucking lung by the rival. So Barry's like, beans, this is not good. Let me go back and let Thawne kill Mother. So he lets his mom die again, and then he comes back to the present right after Zoom is defeated, only to find out, SpaghettiOs, I fucked everything up. Cisco, his previous best friend, fucking despises him now because Cisco's brother was killed in a car accident, and Cisco blames Barry for some fucking reason because Barry won't go back in time to save Cisco brother, which is dumb reason, but okay, I respect. Cisco has mental health issues. His brother died. Caitlin also has unexplained powers now. She now has Killer Frost, who is attempting to take control of her. We'll get to that again later. So in this third season, Barry tries to amend for all the shit that he fucked up. At some point during the season, aliens show up on planet Earth because Barry fucked with time, and they want to kill him because he fucked with time. So Barry has to deal with that, and a message from his future self that's like, I fucked with the timeline, don't trust me. So then, the person shows up and starts killing a bunch of people. Starts fistfighting Barry, starts hurting a bunch of people. And then is like, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm here to kill Iris. So Iris almost fucking dies. Barry gets engaged to Iris. That's weird because she's his stepsister. We're not going to talk about that, though, because that's fine, apparently. It's still a little weird, but CW said it's fine, so I'm sure. So Barry gets engaged to his stepsister. Um, both of his closest friends gets powers, but one of the friends who got powers has evil powers that change her personality entirely for some fucking reason. Said previous friend becomes friend of bad guy. The big metal suit speed man. Big metal suit speed man threatens to kill Iris a bunch, but doesn't actually get to because other guy dies. Rest in peace, HR. Other guy dies. Iris live. Barry ends up kicking Big Metal Suit Speed Man's ass. Big Metal Suit Speed Man gets time myrtled, only for Electric God Space to be like, hey, Bear, you done fucked up, you done goofed, bud, come, you gotta go to extra dimensional prison. So Barry's like, beans, and he goes to extra dimensional prison. And that's the end of season 3. He goes to extra dimensional prison with fake mom, because beans, I done fucked time. So season 4 starts and Barry's in extra dimensional prison because that's a thing. Speed brother and stepsister wife are are protecting Central City with the help of best friend who hated Barry for killing brother before, but is now miss Barry so much he fuck with rules of universe to get Barry back. So Barry come back, only to immediately start being fucked with by Big Brain Man. Big Brain Man proceeds to fuck with Barry for an entire season by creating metahumans using a bus, by tricking him into thinking that he's a macaroni-loving, just calm professor guy, granting him friendship with a person that he previously hated, framing him for murder and getting him thrown in prison. Not even kidding. He goes from all that normal shit to banning him for fucking murder and getting him put in prison for a few months. In prison, Barry almost gets sold to the metahuman black market. All the people who were involved in that fucking die because of Big Brain Man. Big Brain Man is now jumping into different people's bodies. A friend who had evil powers is now back. Still has evil powers, but evil powers now do good stuff. So everybody all happy. Barry marries stepsister. At Barry and stepsister's wedding, Nazis show up from planet Nazi. That's big sad. Everyone fight. Person who murdered Barry mom is there, who also Nazi, apparently. So a bunch of bad shit happen. Everything end. Barry and stepsister still get married because, yay, incest. Not really incest because they're not related, but still kind of fucking weird. So that happens. And they keep fighting Big Brain Man, who keeps outsmarting Barry at every turn. Only for him to murder the person that Barry's been training the whole season and take over his body and taunt Barry with the dead friend's voice. So fucked up. Barry ends up going inside Big Brain Man's head and figuring shit out, and he comes out of Big Brain Man's head, and oh no, it's raining flame metal from the sky because of Big Brain Man's death. So Barry's like, oh, I gotta run and punch the big flaming metal thing. He goes and he punches it, and out of the corner of his eye, he sees Purple Person. Purple Person turns out to be Barry's daughter. That's the end of season 4. Season 5 starts. Barry has a kid from the future who's come back in time. Barry's like, oh, no, go to future. I don't want to ruin your childhood. And then she's like, too bad, you're not in my childhood. You die in a couple years. I don't remember you. I've never met you. And he's like, oh, shit, okay, you can stay. So she stays, and she tries to help out. She mostly fucks things up. She's so adorable that you just let her get away with it because Nora was just so fucking precious. But she keeps fucking things up. She causes this dude named Cicada to show up. We're gonna call him Buggy Guy, or we'll just call him Big Bug Man. No, that sounds like Big Brain Man. We'll go with uh, bad breathe boy. Bad breathe boy shows up every couple of episodes, kills a bunch of people, and then goes, "I'll kill all metas," and then flies away. He does that every couple of episodes, sometimes every episode, just kills a couple people, takes away Team Flash's powers. Oh, right, he has a lightning-shaped stabby thing that takes people's powers. He takes people's powers, kills a bunch of people. He nicks Blasty best friend in the hands, so his powers don't work right. So a bunch of shit happens. And eventually we find out that Nora is actually being taught by a person who murdered Barry's mom, which is big sad and makes Barry real pissed. So Barry accidentally turns her evil, and then she's like, "Oh no, I'm actually good." And then they fight Bad Breathe Boy, and he dies by future bad breathe girl who actually don't breathe bad. She had no reason to breathe bad, but we don't talk about that. Inconsistencies be damned. So she dies too, and then they go to the future to fight evil Nazi speedster who killed Barry's mom. And evil Nazi speedster guy, we'll call him Banana Man. Banana Man is like, haha, you freed me from prison. Your daughter's dying now. So Nora starts disappearing into timeline dust, and as she disappears into timeline dust, she's hugging her dad. So Barry has his child literally die in his fucking arms because of the person who murdered his mother, which is so beyond fucked up. And I literally cried because Nora was like my goddamn child. I loved her. Moving on. More horrible shit happened, and then that's the end of season 5. So season 6 picks up like literal minutes after Barry's child is murdered. You see, the message, which I didn't talk about. Barry's daughter left message for Barry and sister wife. Barry and sister wife watch the message one time before it gets blown up by Cosmo Man. Cosmo Man shows up and blows up the message, and Barry doesn't see him. And then, they have to fight a literal black hole. And then after they fight the black hole, Cosmo Man shows up and he's like, "Hey, yo, Bear, dude, you gotta die here in like a couple months." And Barry's like, "Oh, I don't believe you." So Barry goes to Earth 3 and is like, "Okay, plug my brain into time." So he gets his brain plugged into time and he's like, beans, I gotta die. So, Barry deciding he gotta die, he's like, okay, well, I'm just not gonna tell any of my friends. So he doesn't. And everybody kind of goes about their lives until, he eventually has to tell people. And then during his last week of life, he spends the majority of it under a villain's mind control. Cancer blood goop guy decides that it's a good idea to take control of Barry mind and make everybody have mind of Blood Guy. So Blood Guy tries to do thing, but Barry stops him literally the night before he's supposed to die. So it comes time for multiverse to go boom, boom, boom. So as multiverse go boom, 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 Barry loses one of his closest friends 2 times in a row. Only to do something that will fuck up his life later on. We'll get to that here in a sec. So the multiverse ends up not dying because of Bad Life Man. Bad Life Man gets murdered, and that's the end of multiverse boom boom. So end of multiverse boom boom. Barry come back to normal life, and his power's not working right. Because when multiverse was boom booming, Barry did thing with Spectre that poisoned the Speed Force. So the Speed Force literally fucking dies. The Speed Force dies, and Barry loses powers. Then Barry's sister wife gets swapped out for evil mirror sister wife. Evil mirror sister wife is batshit. And then we find out Mirror Mistress. I'm just gonna call her name. Mirror Mistress shows up, and she's like, "Oh, hey, I have your wife. Not gonna let her go. Sorry, fuck you. I'm gonna go kill my husband." And he's like, "Hey, can I have my wife back?" And she's like, "Nope. I'm gonna impale you." So she impales Barry a couple times across a couple episodes, and Barry keeps like having these moments where he's super depressed, and then he's like, "I will tell inspirational speech to lift spirits," and it kind of works. But then everybody's just sad again the next episode because everything is awful and everyone's dying. And there's a bunch of shit that they can't do, and the Flash is like dying because he can't fucking run without being in serious pain because the Speed Force is dead. Um, and surprisingly, uh, the season doesn't end in any like super emotional thing. It literally just kind of ends with Barry being like, "Oh well, just guess I don't have the power to save my sister wife. Better let my friends do a thing." And that's the end of the season because COVID stopped the season from having its full set of episodes. And now we're waiting for season 7 of The Flash, where Mirror Mistress is gonna have some fucking existential crisis issues. Barry is supposedly gonna get his powers back because he was like, "Nope, I don't care if God died, I will make fake God." So Barry and friends make fake God while the sister wife is stuck in mirror dimension with two of other Barry close friends. And yeah, that has been summarizing CW's The Flash. What a fucking nightmare. Barry Allen has had the worst 7 years in all of existence. Um, yeah, poor Barry Allen. Dude has had a rough fucking time. My dude, you need more than just couples therapy. You need like therapy. It's not normal to cure your depression with inspirational speeches and karaoke nights. I guess it's a way to cope, but it's not the proper way to deal with. Like you need therapy, Barry. Like I know you don't want it, but like you need therapy. You've been through some shit. You need to stop treating everything like it's a fucking game. Barry, go to therapy. Go to therapy.